Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Jack Parrotta here. Now, quick video today. I know I've been away for a couple of weeks. I took a little bit of time off just to kind of reset, spend some time with my girlfriend, my family, just friends, and it was really, really good to get away for a little bit. But I don't want to talk to you about my life. I just want to go ahead and get this video done for you today. It's going to be a really quick one. Like I said, it's something that a lot of you have asked about. I get a lot of messages about. It's all about the legalities and business setup, and we'll talk a tiny bit about accounting as well. So I'm going to go through the main parts of what you need to really think about or consider when you're looking to get into selling on Amazon, and I guess what you need to look out for and what you should sort of get sorted out straight away, the things that you can sort of leave until after you get started selling, and just so you're in the know of what you need to do, because it can be quite confusing. And especially if it's your first time starting a business, selling on Amazon, or starting an online business in general, it can be quite confusing. So we'll cover a few things today. We're going to cover one, ABN. We're going to cover business bank accounts. We're going to cover GST. And then we'll get a little bit into accounting, what I do for my accounting, and what I suggest you do as well. Before I get into this, I just want to let you know that this isn't actual legal advice, okay? I will highly suggest for you to talk to an accountant or a tax professional. I can only teach this or show you what I've done from my own experiences. So I'm not a tax professional. Don't take this as actual legal advice. This is just recommendations from my own personal experiences, my own personal opinion. So first thing I want to look at here is an ABN, and it's very, very simple to, and I'll leave the links to the relevant info down below. You can check it out in the description. So ABN, if you are living in Australia, no matter where, whether you're selling in Australia or UK or US, if you reside in Australia, you'll be starting a business in Australia, so you need to apply for an ABN. I suggest applying for an ABN as quickly as you can, at least bare minimum, just do it before you start selling. The reason for this is you want it to be as easy as possible to separate your personal income and expenses to your business income and expenses, okay? Whether you work a job already, whether you're part-time, full-time, you don't have a job yet, I still recommend to get an ABN as soon as you can. It's free to do so. I'll leave the link down below here so you can check out what an ABN does, okay? And why it's beneficial to have one. And then you just go to register for an ABN here. We'll just go ahead and open that up in a new tab. And then what you want to do from here is just click register your business, okay? So when it comes to an ABN, you don't have to have a business name. An ABN runs under your own personal name. Okay, that's really all you need to know. So select new registrations to apply for. Now, if you want to register a business name, you can, but usually registering a business name costs money. And when I registered a business name, I got an accountant to help with that. Okay, when I was under an ABN, I just did it all myself. So it's very, very easy to do. Talk a little bit about GST later, but you don't really need to worry about any of this. So after that, you can just go ahead and click next. Okay, and then it tells you all the details you need. I'm not going to go through the entire thing here. It's very, very simple stuff. It just asks you for personal details. Okay, and then the only other thing to note, another question I get asked is, okay, hey Jack, look, I'm starting dropshipping, I'm starting selling on Amazon, and when I go to this part here, business structure or business activity details, there's no category for e-commerce. Now, there's not going to be a category for e-commerce. You just got to choose a category that is closest to it, okay? Whether that's retail, whether that's just selling goods, okay? Selling product or retail selling. Just get the category that is close, as close as possible to selling products online, or as close as possible to conducting business online. Most likely you're going to be selling physical products, or you're looking to sell physical products. Just do the category that makes the most sense to you, okay? As long as you're not blatantly lying, you should be fine. All right, so that's for an ABN. Now, like I said, we'll do the steps as well. I've got my little auto draw pad here, which I'll draw a little bit here because we'll do the steps and what I would recommend, okay? But first, I want to go into business bank accounts. So I personally only did a business bank account way later on down the line, okay, which at the end of the day, it costs me a lot more in accounting, okay? It costs me a lot more for my accountant to sort out, and costs me a lot more money because it takes a lot longer to separate personal and business expenses if they're all in the one account. So I had it all on my personal account, and it was only as of a couple of years ago, that I ended up getting a business bank account. and I just separated everything. I had a business debit card, and I just separated any business income goes straight to the business account. Okay, any business expenses comes out of the business account, and then I try and just keep personal stuff to my personal account, business stuff to the business account. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, it doesn't take as much time for my accountant to go through, and it costs me a lot less money in accounting fees, right? Because it doesn't take as long. So I'm with Westpac. Now, I personally just started with the Business One Low. It's a $10 a month plan, very, very cheap, okay? And it's very, very quick to open. You can do the Business One Flexi, but with Westpac here, it's 50 cents per electronic transaction, and I don't want that. I just did the $10 monthly plan fee. Very, very simple to do, especially if you are under an ABN, okay? Go to your bank if you're, whether you're with Commonwealth or Bank of Queensland or whatever it is, okay? I think it's Bank of Queensland. I can't remember. It's pretty bad of me, but whatever bank you're with, you just go with them and check out their business bank accounts, okay, and see what plans they have. I chose Westpac because my personal account was with Westpac, so I just did that. But it really depends on what you're after. I would personally just go for the one that's the most simple to set up, has the lowest fees, and just has any extra sort of features that you want. Okay, but that's pretty much all there is to note. I would personally get a business bank account as soon as you can. Potentially before you start making purchases. Say if you purchase your first order, you would want that to be through your business bank account first. So you could sort of transfer money to that business account and then pay it out of the business account, just so it's all tracked in your business bank account, if that makes sense. Okay, and the next thing I want to talk about is GST. So the only thing to note with this is that if you have an ABN, which again I do suggest, if you aren't registered for GST, you will get charged 10% on any of your Amazon seller fees. Okay, so what I would suggest here, it's really hard to just pick one or the other as like an umbrella term for anyone here watching. Okay, so I would suggest to talk to a tax professional or an accountant, because when it came to my accountant, he suggested don't even look at GST, applying for GST or registering for GST if you aren't selling over 75,000 per year. That was before I was selling 75,000 per year. Okay, if you're under that, if you're just starting, I personally wouldn't recommend it. Even though there's a 10% here, I just personally wouldn't recommend it because there's no reason to have to deal with GST. It's legally not required until you're earning over 75,000 per year. That's within Australia. Okay, so if you have an ABN, you don't want to register for GST, that is fine. You don't have to. It's not a requirement here. Okay, if you do want to register for it, I would talk to a tax professional first, because it really is going to depend on how much you're earning. Okay, even though you're starting a business from scratch, it really there's factors that come into play with how much you're earning, whether you have full-time, part-time, depends on what tax bracket you're in as well. And then that will sort of feed into when you're starting your business off, whether you're earning a little amount or you're earning a lot. It really depends on the individual. Okay, so I personally didn't register for GST until I was earning that 75,000 per year or over. I personally, like I said, if I was to start again, I wouldn't bother. Okay, even though you might be dodging this 10% GST, I just wouldn't bother, because there's a lot of other stuff that comes into registering for GST. There's a lot more stuff that needs to be done with accounting as well. If you haven't started a business before, you haven't got an accountant, I would suggest to get one. But again, like I said, talk to an accountant. It really depends on your situation. I would personally just not do it straight away and just worry about the GST later. But if you really want to take off that 10% GST charge on the Amazon seller fees, you can register for GST. Okay, that is not, it's not legal advice. I would just suggest to not bother with it at the start, especially when you're very, very first starting. If this is like your first online business that you're starting, your first business in general that you're starting. Next thing I want to talk about is Xero, okay, or accounting software. Now, I didn't get into accounting software until after I had an accountant. Once I had my own personal accountant, he suggested I get Xero because he has access to all my financials, and it is just really easy. It connects it to my business account, my debit cards, my personal account, my business credit card, okay? And he can see everything that's going through, and it takes him a very minimal amount of time compared to when I first started with him, with my accountant. Xero is a very, very simple piece of accounting software. You can start with a free plan, a free trial. And then you can go to, I think I'm on the $30 per month trial. It just goes through my accountant, and then my accountant charges me for the Xero software. So that's pretty much it. There are a lot of other accounting softwares. Okay, I would recommend getting an accounting software when you're at that point where it's starting to become too much to handle. Like if you have a lot of transactions going through, I would suggest tracking with Xero. Other than that, you can do an Excel spreadsheet, but I am horrendous when it comes to Excel spreadsheets, so I would just rather go ahead and pay an accountant, get it all hooked up to Xero, and my accountant has full view of what happens in there, and then it's just easier for me. I'd rather just let the expert deal with it, and then I pay my accountant, and then that's just my personal opinion. Okay, if you really know what you're doing, you can maybe do it through Excel and track all your income and expenses through there. My personal opinion, just get an expert to do it. It's a lot easier, in my opinion. Okay, so we'll go through the steps. So let's just say if we were starting from scratch. Okay, starting from scratch. There we go. Now, what would we do? I want to draw this just because it's fun. I have terrible drawing. What would we do first? So I would first, before you start selling, get an ABN. That's what I would do. 2, okay, what do we do after that? Now, it really depends on where you are. If you want to start selling beforehand, let's just say if you're really, really eager to start selling, before you buy your first order or anything like that, start selling on Amazon, or if you're drop shipping, whatever it may be, I would get a business bank account. Okay. Step 2, get a business bank account. And then we've got step 3. You should look at accounting. Okay. Whether that's software or Excel. Okay. Microsoft Excel. Look at accounting, because as soon as you get this all sorted, actually, I forgot one here. One thing I want to add here that's really, really important, okay? Talk to an accountant. Okay, this is like before all of this. Okay, this is the first thing to do. Okay, talk to an accountant before anything. Before you get an ABN, even before you get an ABN potentially, talk to an accountant or a tax professional, just so you know that you're on the right track, because everyone's situation is different, okay? And then 4, this is later on. Okay, later on, make sure that I'm doing this right. Later on, look into registering. I think I spelled that wrong. I'm just going to say look into GST. There we go. Look into GST, talk to a tax professional or your accountant, see if it's viable to register for GST, and whether you should do it or not. Because like I said, I didn't bother doing it until later on. I knew that it was going to be just one more hassle, because there's a lot more reporting that goes into GST once you register for it. That's why my accountant suggested to not do it until later on. So they're the 4 steps, and they're really the main things that you need to look into when you're looking at selling on Amazon. It's very, very simple. I'd say the first thing, okay, after talking to a tax professional, if you think you need it, if you really don't need it, if you're confident, just get an ABN. Okay, get an ABN and potentially a business bank account, and then you can start. The rest of the stuff, there's 3 and 4 here, right? That can come later. It's like divided, okay? So just make sure you do these 2 first. This here is priority. 1 and 2 are like priority, especially this. Get an ABN, okay? So that would be the most important part of this. Now, if you do have any other questions, please let me know. Comment down below. I'm more than happy to help. But I hope this video helped you out. And I would like to talk more about this stuff, because a lot of people don't talk about it. Okay, a lot of people don't talk about it. I've started my own Amazon business before. I've started drop shipping. I have my main business now is the education business. So I've started businesses before. I've had my accountant for the past few years, so I know what I'm dealing with here when it comes to running my own business. Okay, a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of things that I didn't learn. I didn't learn at school. Didn't learn in high school or anything like that, or even when I was doing TAFE and a bit of extra stuff, bit of extra study. Didn't learn any of it until I started my own business. So That's my own personal opinion. Again, it's not legal advice, but if you have any other questions, comment down below or message me on my socials. I'm more than happy to help. Apart from that, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day or night, wherever you're watching. Stay safe. I'll see you guys in the next one.